You folks ready? I think it's time we get rolling. Welcome in, everyone, to the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Thomas Cuthbert here, also known as Orion. I with you today to bring you our next race in the series. We stay in the PRA yet again as we get ready for another round of some street stocks on the road courses. A quick look at the schedule. We head to Detroit now, as Sonoma was our race last week. Oh, failed to load module. Are you serious? Okay, good. I'm having this problem everywhere. Good. Focus on that later. We were at Sonoma last week. We missed Sandown, and now we are back for Detroit to begin the second half of the season for us all. Should be very exciting to get this up and rolling as people are crashing all over the place. This is going to be quite the exciting race from what it looks to be, even if the field is somewhat limited today. Speaking of the field, I think it's time that we have a quick look at our field for today. Keith Nelson Jr. drives the 00 with Justin Rector in the 03. Chris Blackstock in the number 3. The 04 is driven by Cameron Cayley. The number 4 by Brian Molitor. The number 7 driven by Kyle Pekrefke. In the 012 at the moment is Jimmy Sallow. In the number 12 is Marlo Duncan. Ivan Barra drives the 18 with David Nannon beginning our second half of drivers in the 21. The 57 driven by Daniel Blanco. The 61 Jory Fleischauer. Chris Burke pilots the 66. Aaron Smith the second driving the number 70. Colby Vaughn in the 71. Nathan Scott Maru, the 76. Douglas Colley, the 88. Joey Kuba drives the 93. That's our look. Let's look at our current roster at the moment. We may get more drivers, and we may need a second page, depending on how that rolls. Quick look at an update we got earlier today. Out for today will be Justin Rector. He is confirmed with us about somewhere in the ballpark of an hour or so ago that he will be out for this race, which is unfortunate, but does get the last place points, which, given how these race turnouts have been, is actually going to matter quite a bit. At the moment, we have 8 racers that have hit the track, so if things hold, he would get 9th place points, which would actually be quite nice, as we are just getting a few more things set up, and then we'll be ready to roll with a remainder of our pre-show. There won't be much of one. We are very close to race time, as a matter of fact. So let's get on down with the standings for today's, at the current moment, for the Road Course Challenge. Keith Nelson Jr. is in first place at the moment with 354 points. The next highest, Daniel Blanco, with 288. Ivan Barra snuck up to third in the last event, taking up 282 points. Colby Vaughn right behind him at 281. David Nannon's got 279 to round out the top 5. It's Cameron Cayley, Justin Rector, Kyle Pekrefke, and Chris Burke in the top 9. For the bottom 9, it's Brian Molitor, Chris Blackstock, Joey Kuba, Marlo Duncan, Douglas Colley, Jimmy Sallow, Jory Fleischauer, the retired Brock Morris, and Nathan Scott Maru. Plenty of these drivers were missing from our last race. Just going to quickly check into the chat. Hope you all are having a good time. We got 5 of you in here today. Good to see you all. Hope everyone's doing well. And over on my side of things, looks like nothing too much is occurring over there. I think it's about time we hit the track. So let's just make sure this is up and running. Wait for it to ping. There we go. And let's get our pieces up and running as we are almost about to begin qualifying. We've got 40 seconds left in it. Right now, the best qualifying time is the number 70, the newly minted Aaron Smith II, currently piloting a 140.621 in first. Ooh, that's a crunchy car for Ivan Barra. He's going to need to get off the track quickly. And he is. 20 seconds left, and we'll begin the joint qualifying session. A bit unique in the Prodigy Racing Association. There have not been very many joint qualifying sessions, honestly, at all. Street Stocks at Detroit should, in fact, be very exciting. Welcome in Aaron Fontaine into the chat. Good to see you. I can very much understand why you wouldn't want to race this, but welcome. Final few seconds as the checkered flag waves on the practice session, and we're about ready to roll with our next session, the joint qualifying. And there he goes. Let's get all the pieces up and running. I know the pieces fit because I watched them fall away. Your fastest time in practice goes to Aaron Smith II. As we'll wait for the first driver to ping on the outlap. It'll be Aaron Smith II. Off he goes. Aaron wants to get out in front early and not have to deal with all the traffic until later on in the session. It's a bit tricky how you want to go about the joint qualifying because you not only have to take into account how quick are you going to be on the track, how is that going to affect how you interact with other drivers on the track? Because if you run into them on your flying lap, we're about to have a problem. So for now, Barra just going through. It's a very sharp turn-based track. A lot of 90 degrees. Not very many curved bends for corners. It's a lot of 90s, a lot of sharp angles. There is a bit of curvature here on the bottom of the track that is now occupied by Smith II. Has a 3-long bit of traffic behind him. As here they come, it is led by Colby Vaughn, Chris Blackstock, and then Kyle Pokrefke. We'll continue focusing on our newest driver to the Street Stock Series. Joined us earlier today. Just a couple more corners to go. 3 more turns to be exact to end his outlap, and then we'll get to see what Smith II has in store for us on the flying lap. One last turn. And off we go. There's the finish line, and around we'll go to turn 1. It's a little bit shallow to kick things off. It's pretty curved around these first 2 corners. Could fool you into thinking it's going to be a very standard kind of track. You have this long straightaway with a massive braking point right by the Penske Bridge. You're going to be braking right as these boards begin. It's about 450, the mark where Smith II feels comfortable braking. A little hop over the curb and under the Lear Corporation Bridge. And how about another sharp turn? The number 69. We got the number 69 on the track. Ooh, yes we do. We have another new driver on the board. Thank you very much. I didn't see him hop on in. This is Samuel Burdett joining us for this series. And actually, I think some liveries are messed up. Oh, and that car is messed up big time as he crashes hard into the wall. We'll stick with Aaron Smith for now, making his way through this first flying lap. And right now, the traffic has been kind to him as the livery is reloaded. And let me just reload it one more time. It's going to be gray once more. And it will stay this beaming bright yellow. Sometimes I forget all the pieces required to make this fit. A few more turns here for Smith II. We'll get to see the time that he puts on the board. He'll be the first one on the board. And then we'll get to see how he stacks up with some of the competition as David Nannen has begun the outlap. First time on the board is a 140.924. As we go up high, Colby Vaughn crosses the line for the first time on his flying lap, about 4.5 seconds behind the number 70 car. And he had some traffic behind him. It's still there. It's Chris Blackstock, who joins us yet again. Good to see you, Chris. As Aaron Smith has ended up kind of in the bin a little bit. Not exactly what we expected here on the qualifying session, but has already put down a great time. Nobody was in the 141s during the practice session, and maybe that will change, especially with Nelson Jr. about to hit the track, I imagine, at some point. He's not out there yet. He may want to be in the back to start the race. So we did see that last time at Sonoma. I think he did it. No, I saw it at Watkins Glen is when I saw it. Also ended up in a little bit of a bad... Oh! His Barra clips the wall pretty hard there. That's probably going to ruin that lap. But still, Barra's got time to work with. It's a 10-minute qualifying session. We're about to press the halfway mark of that session. Blackstock and Vaughn have also picked up some crashes. Here's Burdett. Watch him for the rest of this lap as he ends up sliding hard into the wall, so that will bin this lap. If I recall correctly, we are still running on strict qualifying standards. As a matter of fact, I can actually check that right now. Let me see the qualifying standards here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're strict. Come on, show me. Well, there's the setup. Oh, there's no scrutiny. Maru is in the session. That is what we like to see. I do see Nathan Scott Maru is joining us for this. Is he going to be allowed to qualify? I mean, assuming that he can make a lap and he'll be allowed to qualify. I would presume that would be the case since he is here and ready to roll. And is not on the track, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that's his car. That was the 70 car. So yeah, no qualifying conduct scrutiny. That's a choice. Okay, yeah, he's not on the track. There he is. There he is in pit lane. The chrome red. Yeah, should be fine. I imagine so. I don't know if he'll be able to like put a time in. It depends on how fast he is. But at the very least, he is welcome to qualify. Something has gone wrong. There we go. Okay, that was him disappearing. That was not my game freezing. Good. We are, in fact, live. Thank you very much, Aaron, for all the help that you've been up to for this series. We very much appreciate it. We're going to stick with Nathan Scott Maru. He's been absent for a little bit, especially with Sam Burdett crashing into the wall. Maru will be able to escape the bottom of the board with this, as some of the drivers down there, well, Brock Morris will officially go down to last place, and I think at that point, I might take him off the standings, might not. I think it's fair to keep him on for history's sake that he was a part of the series. Did collect points for it, but is no longer joining us for the races. That is incorrect, Nathan. He will still have time to work with. These laps have been about, even being considerate, a minute 50, and he'll be relatively close to that, assuming he can hold on to his connection. So long as he's on the track for any modicum of time during the race, he will register for points. We've only had 3 times officially come in for qualifying. We've had more than 3 drivers on the track. As much as my camera work may convince you otherwise, we've had plenty of drivers. In fact, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 10 drivers. Nice. 10 drivers on the board. I think there is some form of qualifying scrutiny. It's definitely not off. Either that or I don't understand iRacing qualifying scrutiny at all. Minute 20 on the clock. Past this first long straightaway is Maru, as Nanan has pulled up a caution flag for himself. It's a local caution. We'll have 2 heats. We'll go in standard grid order for the first race based on how you qualified, and then reverse grid order based on the race result for the feature race. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I'll be back in a moment, as the qualifying session's about to end. Well, I came back and found Maru facing the wrong way, so so much for that. Ivan Barra ends up taking the second spot on our board with a 1:43.782. Ooh, crunching into the wall, and that'll end our qualifying session. Your grid for this race will start with Aaron Smith, the second on pole position by over 3 seconds. Ivan Barra in second. For row 2, it'll be Colby Vaughn and David Nannen at P3 and P4. Kyle Pekrefke will be with Nelson Jr. on row 3. Nelson Jr. not qualifying for today. And the 00 puts him in the front of all the non-qualifiers. You've got David Blanco and Chris Blackstock, who was on the track but couldn't get a time on. Yeah, quality scrutiny is off as Burdett and Maru will finish up the grid. It's both off and also definitely not working as intended. Because there was definitely some form of scrutiny on that, as a lot of those drivers were on the track but couldn't record a time. Unless I straight don't understand what's going on. Come on in. We are going to start gridding in about 30 seconds. As a matter of fact, that's going to give me time to take a bit of a break. I will be right back, and we should be ready to roll with some racing. Enjoy the gridding process. We round through the final few corners. Oh my goodness, Titania Falls with the Prime sub. That is on the personal stream. Much appreciated. Good to see you. If you'd like to support the network that actually gives me the chance to do this, you can do !PRA in the chat if you would like. If you want to stick around here, that is plenty fine as well. It's up to you. In goes the pace car. The drivers are set. 10 on the grid. We are green flag racing in Detroit, Michigan. It's Smith the second to kick us off on the right side and gets a big jump right up the gut. Colby Vaughn will get by Ivan Barra, who had some trouble there in P2 and is stuck on the inside with Vaughn getting all the speed out of it. Smith already getting a huge gap out of it as a couple drivers collide into the wall, but stay afloat for now. We'll bring it back a little bit towards David Nannen, currently in P6, battling it out with Blackstock and Nelson Jr. Nelson Jr. on that inside will have an easy time through. I think someone's hit the wall. It is Pekrefke, who has ended up in the gap behind that padding. You can see him there reversing to get back onto the track. So Nannen will move up to 5th, and Pekrefke will be stuck in the back. Nelson Jr. already moving up the grid up to 4th place for now, starting in 6th to begin this race, and will try to make his way up to the top and get sent to the back for the beginning of the feature race. With the slipstream from Barra. On that left side of Barra, kind of running a little bit out of room, so was a little conservative making the move. Now looks for the over-under on Barra, has the overspeed, is given the room, but is stuck on that outside. Still in the battle, a little bit of contact between Nelson Jr. and Barra, but they get out of it okay. And it's Nelson Jr. who ends up with the position at the end of the day, already up to third place. Welcome to the news. For the first time chatting, it's Titania Falls. Thank you very much. That is Burdett, who is in the pit. Aaron, if you could please confirm with us, did Sam get sent to the pit for connection issues? Because I did not see him being anywhere close to pit lane. As we are just past the finish line here with Nelson Jr. in third place. And Burdett was a little bit behind the pack. But I believe he did get sent either for a tow. It was a pile up in the back. I do see we've got it on the board, so we're going to have a look at it now. It'll start with Nathan Scott Maru, who will kick us off in this process. We're looking on. You can hear a bit of crunching there. Oh, that's a bit of a spin. Rough one, buddy. But then Burdett and we've also just had a crash now with Krevke. Oh, there's that pile up and a bit of crunch time there for Burdett. Has Nannen there on the left side and completely locked up, the front end smashing into the wall. And that would be why he headed to pit lane. So that is a tow from Burdett as he tries to get out of the way of the rest of the field. There's Blanco and Blackstock doing battle. It is 3 wide here for the battle for P4. Ivan Barra in the front of that pack, and a big hop over the curb there. And a bit of a crunch into the boards as Blanco gets hit hard, it looks to be. Or maybe Chris Blackstock gets the worst of it. Blanco, somehow the best, moves up to 4th. You can see David Nannen in the back there, a little bit squirrely going around that corner in P7 at the moment. While we were in the midst of going through all those crashes, oh yeah, he did tow. Yeah, I figured he would tow considering that car literally would not turn to the right. So Barra now getting by David Blanco. He's slowing down considerably. What's happening here? He moves off to the left side. Did he get given a flag or something? I don't see a flag, and as a matter of fact, I see the wrong overlay on the board. Let's get that up and running. Nannen's in the chat right now, and by the chat, I mean the voice chat in the race. I'm not exactly sure what happened. He got a slowdown. He got a slowdown for a track cut. Okay, thank you very much. I was going to look for that flag, and then I realized it was on the wrong overlay. At the very least, the overlay that we had worked plenty for what we were up to. We're 4 minutes and 15 seconds into this first heat, where we got 20-minute heat here for the first race. Flip the grid, and we'll go again for round 2. So Burdett, with a brutal start to the race, will maybe get a bit of better luck the second time around. And a big thank you to Aaron Fontaine in the chat here. A big member of the Prodigy Racing Association, part of the IndyCar Series and GT3 Series as a driver, helping in the administrative role today with the street stocks, and also helping me not sound like I don't know anything at all, even though I absolutely don't. That's crunch time. I hear big time crunch time. Blanco's joining in on that as well with a solid hit into the wall alongside Ivan Barra. Let's go up the field a little bit. Nelson Jr.'s got some work to do, as you can see. Vaughn in the back there getting a bit squirrely on exit. Nelson Jr. now sits 4.5 seconds behind Smith. As Burdett, I think, is either... is he on his outlap or no? He's probably getting out of the car every now and again as Nannen is... Oh! So fun fact, your car's not supposed to be missing the front bumper. And Nannen's is. So... what happened? Let's start a little bit further back. He's got Blackstock in front of him, and Blackstock does end up on the board 4 seconds after the initial crash that registered. So Nannen just sliding on the board, and that's incorrect. Back it up. He just towed. Looks like he just towed. But what happened with Blackstock here? Because there's Nannen in the back. Oh, he whips it around the corner and is spun the wrong way. And very understandably, David Nannen has gone to pit lane at this current moment, as we'll focus in on David Blanco at the moment, battling Ivan Barra for P4. About half a second back or so. Prekrefke ends up on the board. The gaps have now really started to show themselves. It is mostly Nelson Jr. trying to fight up the field and catch up to Smith II, as Blanco nearly got into the back end of Ivan Barra, but got out of it okay. Let's get on board with Daniel Blanco as he tries to battle this 18 car of Ivan Barra. Also has to keep in mind that Barra himself is in a bit of a battle, and ooh, that little bit of a bump is going to cost him. Blanco wasn't ready for him to slow down so much. Didn't want to go for the move on the inside. Instead, hit Barra pretty hard on his rear end. I guess thinking, well, yeah, these cars kind of have one line around these corners, and that's about it. Somehow, even with the contact in the wall, Barra less than a second behind Colby Vaughn, and Blanco about a third of a second behind Barra. I think moments like that are showing why it's going to get a little bit hairy. He wants to make a move on the left side. Maybe a bit of contact in the rear end. They're bouncing off the wall, and getting by is Blanco for now. Although he's not quite past him just yet. They are side by side right behind Colby Vaughn, who was a bit slow out of the exit. We saw him be a bit squirrely on the curve to the left side. Blanco ends up getting it into the back of him and spears him off the track. Colby Vaughn collided into hard. Blanco does give the position back, but Barra gets by for P3. And we're going to watch that again, hopefully for a different angle. As we'll get to see, there's Barra and Blanco going side by side. I think Barra ends up backing out. Yes, he backs out to give Blanco the room, and he just gets into the back end of Vaughn, not slowing down enough. Hits him pretty hard on that one, but does let the car go by. We call that in the business giving your position back. When you get the position unfairly, you end up returning it to the driver that you unfortunately ripped it away from. And that is how that went down. We could actually combine the shots. I just realized we could just do this. That's kind of funny. I don't actually think it's going to work the way I want it to. Yeah, okay, we're going to ignore that. No, I'm going to cancel that. Forget it. Because I don't know the kind of chicanery I'd have to get up to make that work. So we're not going to bother. We're just going to focus on Colby Vaughn and... Is Colby Vaughn and David Blanco getting a little bit into it? As Ivan Barra was trying to get to pit lane. Barra register a crash on that? What happened here? What was this? Oh, that's a big collision into the wall. Ended up having traffic behind him and just wanted to get out of the way, but the car wasn't turning. And you can see there is Vaughn, and there's Blanco, and then he finally gets his room into pit lane. We've got a battle going on now. It's Blanco and Vaughn, round 2. Hopefully with less contact. That'd be ideal. Oh, that's going to help things out for David Blanco, as Vaughn's been a little bit squirrely around some of these corners. David Blanco's had an easier time around them. And Blanco does get by on the right side. Now zooming down hard on the inside. It's still going to have Vaughn to deal with, though, around these next few corners. Hard right-hander coming up. Vaughn's in the better position. Ends up giving it up, though. But so does... Oh, that's a cut and a half. The black and white will wave for Vaughn, but he immediately clears it as he effectively stopped in the middle of the track. And David Blanco will move up to P3, but 24 seconds behind your series leader, Nelson Jr., who himself is 5 seconds behind your race leader. Smith II hasn't had quite the lap times he's had in the practice session. We've got a crash on the board. That is Maru, who is, I think, facing the wrong way. The thing with Smith II is, while he hasn't had the best lap compared to his performance in qualifying and practice, he is still doing quite the job of getting that lead over Nelson Jr. That gap has extended to 5.4 seconds now His best lap, a 1:41.971. And for Nelson Jr., it's a 1:42.261. So Smith the second is just sailing clear. Nothing but clean air in front of him. Hasn't had to deal with lap traffic yet. So it looks like Nannen is on the track and is catching up to Ivan Barra, who's in pit lane as we speak, repairing some damage. And so now we settle in. We're about 12 minutes or so into this first heat. Smith the second with a clear lead over Nelson Jr., who has a massive lead over Daniel Blanco. If you see on the board there to the top left, in fact, we will make that board just a little bit bigger for you. If you just give us a quick moment. And now that the board's a little bit bigger, you can see you have gap and then INT. That is referred to as the interval, also known as the gap between the next driver for position. The gap is how far back you are to the leader of the race, as Blanco smacks the wall pretty good. An interval is your gap to the driver next on the position leaderboard. And so David Blanco, 24.6 seconds behind Nelson Jr., according to iOverlay. iRacing TV is reporting something a little bit different. It's reporting a 25.1, but regardless, it's a pretty big gap to the leader right now. We'll get that back down to normal size, and we'll continue on with our focus of this race. I see we got this going on, so give me a quick moment. Got to just deliver a bonk. There we go. Okay, we're back. Back to normal. Back to focusing on the race that we're not racing in, but we're observing people racing in. Bit of a battle here for Krefke as he's trying to catch up to Chris Blackstock, although that car is beat up, to say the least. Anything else I missed? No. So Krefke trying to catch up to Blackstock within 2 seconds of Blackstock at the moment. Yeah, it looks like iOverlay and iRacing TV are, they're off by about half a second until they're not, because now they're reporting the same value. Things are weird sometimes. Technology doesn't exactly always interact in the way you want it to. So, what we do know is it's within a second. As we can see, Blackstock is literally right in front of us. And let's get on board with Calper Krefke so we can see what it looks like from his perspective. Actually, never mind. Let's go up high. Up high around the circuit of Detroit. In fact, what's the official name of the circuit? That's what I would like to know. It is the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle. That's what it's officially called. Cool, cool. We've got the meatball flag, as it's referred to as Ivan Barra, he's gone from 3rd to 9th. Because damage like that is, yeah, that's fair. 5 minutes, 20 seconds remain. iOverlay calculates the interval differently for whatever reason. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. So, Aaron, in your opinion, as someone who has used, I know you've used quite a few overlays. In your opinion, should I trust the iRacing TV overlay I'm looking at, or the iOverlay that I've got going on for stream? While he answers that question, and actually, well, once he hears the question and then answers it, we'll hopefully get to decide how we move forward as Krefke and Blackstock right on top of each other. And now we'll go on board with Krefke as he tries to get by the number 3 car. These street stocks turning, in general, not exactly the biggest fan of it. They don't like turning very much. IRTV is accurate to what iRacing reports. Okay. As, what happened there? Why did Blackstock... Okay. I missed that because I was reading the chat. So, Krefke is by. What happened? Let's go on Blackstock's POV. He got bumped? He take a bump in the bunda? No, he just couldn't turn. Crunch. And there goes Blackstock. Taken. there goes Grefke as Blackstock falls behind to 6th place. A little further up the field, there's Colby Vaughn. So we'll use iRacing TV at least for the gaps that I'll be seeing. iOverlay is there so you can see the board. We will hopefully get a different... I do, in fact, like iOverlay, as a matter of fact. Being able to bounce between all the different incidents is really nice, I must say. So I think I will be keeping it just for race control. And hopefully be able to add some extra assets to the stream in the future as Blackstock is in the pits. Yeah, I wonder why he's in the pits. Hopefully we'll be able to add some extra assets to make the replay transition be a little bit smoother. But for now, this is what we've got. And what we've got is pretty good. And that is a meatball flag for Blackstock and a black and white flag for David Nannen. For those of you unaware, the flags that you can see on the scoreboard, they are right next to the interval. In between the interval and the most recent lap. Those flags indicate several different things. The black and white flag that has popped up every now and again indicates a track cut for a slowdown, aka the driver must concede some time in order to fulfill what is effectively a minor penalty. I figured you can use those together. I do still like at least the system we've got for now. I could try to mix and match them, like have, for example, iRacing TV for the scoreboard, but then keep iOverlay's track map, for example. But I think that is something to ponder for the future, not exactly for now. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, like iRacing TV is pretty customizable. Is that, am I right on that, or am I completely off base? I might be off base. Believe it or not, what I do is I just find the programs that work enough and then just send it. And what we've got is a pretty decent show so far, as Nelson Jr.'s cutting into this lead a little bit, but has to do with lap traffic. We've got 1:35 left, so this will be the final lap on the board for heat number 1. Haven't used it much, understandable. We'll focus on Smith the second for now, who looks to get on with the first race. Wants to finish this up quickly as 1:15 to cross the finish line at the second time. Around we go. It is white flag racing for Heat 1 at Detroit. As Smith the second goes into turn 1 hard, and it's got a little bit of a curve to the other side for turn 2. He wants to take it nice and easy through these corners. The reason that we know this will be the last lap is because it's a time-based race. We've got 40 seconds left in the race, and it's going to take more than 40 seconds just based on Smith the second's lap time to get around the track. And so we know this will be our last lap, and so we'll get to watch Smith the second hold on to this lead, try to stay a little bit conservative with his driving so he doesn't end up in the bin, which would not be ideal, especially in this position. Down the long straightaway on the bottom of the track, we'll get on board with Smith the second. Slows down very early. He wants to make sure this car is going to rip it around the corner. Under the Auto Trader bridge and around to the left-hand side. It's a hard curve. A little bit of a rub against the wall, just a smidgen. These street stocks, they're used to it. They take this kind of stuff all the time. Had a bit of an understeer there, it looked to be. Didn't quite get it around the corner as much as he'd like it to, but he's still got a comfortable lead to work with. And he'll go around the final few corners as Aaron Smith II, welcome to the Street Stock Series, welcome to the Prodigy Racing Association, and wave that checker flag. Welcome to Victory Lane for Heat 1 here at Detroit. A strong start to the season for Smith II, trying to knock Nelson Jr. off the pedestal, who was one win away from claiming the second all-time race winners slot in the Prodigy Racing Association. But that'll have to wait another day as Aaron Smith II takes the win here at Detroit for Heat 1. And once these drivers head off the track, we will be headed to Heat number 2. It'll be our feature race. Alrighty, good start here for Smith II. And he will park it there to bring us to an end. We're going to take a short break on our end. We're going to be right back as we'll get started with our second race of the day. It'll be the feature race when we return. The grid has been flipped and we are about ready to roll. Feature race is not quite ready on the grid yet. It's a little bit funky, but it is the warm-up. So the drivers will get to drive around the track and we'll be back for our feature race. Right in time, I would say, as there's Ivan Barra going around the track one last time. The warm-up period is ending. We'll get the final 10 seconds as the checkered flag waves and the drivers are taken off the track. Just double check everything. We've been getting poked quite a bit. Your grid for the feature race will have Burdett in front with Ivan Barra. So we'll get to see Burdett in pole position this time around with Blackstock and David Nannen at row 2. The times you're seeing on the screen are the gap to the next driver in the race. It's Nathan Scott Maru and Kyle Pokrevki on row 3. For row 4, it'll be Colby Vaughn with David Blanco, followed in the back in row 5 by Nelson Jr. and Smith the second. At least I think it's the interval because something definitely seemed a little bit off. And we're going to stick with iRacing TV for this time around. You get to see how this one runs. I don't know why this little bar is here. As a matter of fact, let me extend that so you can see what it is. Boom. Look at that. Why is that there? I don't know. But it's going away now. Goodbye. Final few moments. Right up close and personal. I like that camera view. Well, let's move this up towards the front with Sam Burdett. He'll have Barra on his left. Matter of fact, let's get that track overlay back. Yeah, there we go. We'll have to move some stuff around. For now, this will do. As the lights are on, we are green flag racing here in Detroit. There are things happening on the screen, and there are cars going around the track, and Blackstock got a great jump and is looking to make a move. Burdett not quite able to get by, and Burdett will fall down into third as Blackstock and Barra move up the grid. Barra now takes the lead, heading into turn 3. It's the long straightaway here as the drivers prep for the nice, tight up right-hander that they're going to have to deal with. Let's actually bring this a little bit further back. Let's see how Aaron Smith tries to navigate through the traffic. Wants to be nice and easy. As the car of Blanco in front, gets by Colby Vaughn, who was on his right. As Pokrevki nearly clips into the wall, is a little bit slow out of that corner. Everyone just trying to make their way through the traffic. Let's bring this camera sky high as we watch Nelson Jr. try to play the long game here. You can see in front the chaos of all the cars moving along as Burdett's a little bit slow out of this corner, so Nelson Jr. will snipe it up the middle between him and Vaughn. Nelson Jr. will move up to 7th position. There's a bit of crunch time in the wall and a bit of contact from Colby Vaughn into the side of Nelson Jr. Moving a little bit further along, Smith the second up to 6th position. So both the leaders of the previous race moving on up the grid. They're both up 3 spots. A little bit of debris on the track. It's still getting crunchy, and it's going to remain that way. As Smith the second. Oh, we've got a car spun around. Someone is facing the wrong way. It is David Nannen, who is, yeah, that car's not where it's supposed to be. David Nannen is stuck facing the wrong way and needs to get this thing turned around before Burdett comes along, although Burdett is very, oh! That engine blew up. The noise you heard was the engine blowing up. Let's have a listen. Burdett had already had a crash, and as a matter of fact, we're going to back this up even further. So here's Burdett in 9th. A bit of understeer crunches him hard into the wall, and already that car is not going to want to turn. And so he is slow as all get out, making his way through. And then around this right-hander coming up, has no chance of turning it. None at all. And the car's already not looking good. Into the wall one more time, and there it goes. So it's Ivan Barra in the lead right now with Blackstock in second, Blanco third. Aaron Smith now changes that as Blanco moves down to fifth. Smith the second, Nelson Jr. doing battle here for P3. Blackstock trying to catch up to Ivan Barra in the lead. Burdett in the pits again after the tow that he takes, so unfortunately for him, it'll be a brutal start to his time in the Prodigy Racing Association as we are only 3.5 minutes in, and he's already had to take a tow. As Barra is off the track, and that's going to allow Smith the second and Blackstock to move on up. Nelson Jr. is going to look for some room as well. You see him just get by Barra there on the right side down the straightaway. Here's Colby Vaughn now trying to battle with Pokrevki, who has vanished out of existence, gone a little bit wide through the corner, and Colby Vaughn gets by for the position. So now I think it's time that we raise this up sky high for the battle for the lead as Chris Blackstock under a lot of pressure, trying to play defensive here against the likes of Smith II and Nelson Jr. And he's going to have a tough time of it as they've got company behind them as well. Immediately looking towards that left side is Smith II. He is alongside. Nelson Jr. is going to wait a little bit back to play the long game. Smith II is by on the left side through the turn. Needs to give room to Blackstock. A little bit of a washout, but Barra had it worse as he crunches into the wall. And now Nelson Jr. is going to get a chance. He's gotten alongside the side of Smith II, but doesn't have the speed around the corner he's looking for. A bit of a slowdown here, and we're starting to pile up a little bit. David Blanco now in the mix, gets into the back end of Nelson Jr. 5 long stretch here, the battle for the lead. We're just over 5 minutes through our feature race. What you're seeing with David Nannen is that he's disconnecting constantly. So it's his car flashing in and out of iRacing. And this is iRacing TV trying to keep up with how it goes about it. That's a big, big speed up there. And going way wide and into the wall is the likes of Smith II. And now Nelson Jr. gets hit by Blanco. And we're going to have to back this up and figure out what in the world just happened. But we've got plenty of action to go through, as none of that actually registered on the board. So this is going to get interesting. Blanco going way wide around this corner, as well as Smith II. Sees Nelson Jr. on the inside of Blanco. It'll now become the outside for the next left-hander coming up. He'll back up Will Nelson Jr. No over-under available. What a battle for the lead indeed. It's Blackstock back in the front. Barra slots in at 4th, behind Nelson Jr. in front of Smith II. So Blackstock has hooked it around the corner, lost his front bumper, and clipped Blanco as well. He'll slot into 5th in the battle. Blanco now in the lead with Nelson Jr. close behind. The cars are going to be nice and quiet. This is now a 7-strong battle. You see Blackstock, Pokrevki, and Vaughn are all in the mix now, battling for the lead. As David Nannen is off the grid entirely at the moment. And he has not returned. It is showing a DNF for him. As Blackstock still in 5th. Smith II trying to get around Ivan Barra, might have a move soon. He's going to look for it. He's on the left side down the straightaway. And Blanco and Nelson Jr. also trading places. Barra will give the place to Smith II. Nelson Jr. gives the courtesy to Blanco. Nelson Jr., your points leader for the series. Lost the heat race earlier today to Smith II. Now looks to get by Blanco and stay ahead, hoping for potentially Blanco to maybe get in Smith II's way. They are side by side, are Nelson Jr. and Blanco. Nelson Jr. to the outside is going to give Blanco the room. Look for that over-under, but Blanco holds his line well. It'll now be to the left-hand corner. Maybe a bit of a swipe at the nose of the Nelson Jr. car, the 00. It's still Blanco in the lead, and Nelson Jr. will not give up this fight. He wants to prove he belongs at that number 2 spot on his own in the PRA all-times win list. But he's going to have to fight for it because he's also got Smith II close behind, as the battle for the lead has gone from 7 to 5 to 3. Nelson Jr. is going to look to the right side now, and I think he wants to commit towards this inside lane. A little bit of contact maybe. They get out of it okay. Around the left-hander, Nelson Jr. has to slot back into second place. A bit of contact where the wall is going to slow down Blanco, though, and Nelson Jr. is going to try and take the lane. Blanco wants to cut off as much room as he can. You can see he's starting to drift to that left side and squeeze the car of Nelson Jr., but Nelson Jr.'s got it around the outside, has the speed, and has the lead. Blanco's not giving it up without a fight, though. Still on that inside and battling hard with Nelson Jr. Gets back in front by about half of a tenth of a second. Now back around to the left-hander. Blanco's getting spun around. He hits the wall hard. He ends up losing the spot to not just Nelson Jr., but to Smith II as well. And now it's the old blood, the leader in the points, battling it out with the brand new driver in the Street Stock Series. Smith II close behind, as that battle took us 4 minutes and 57 seconds. We are now at the halfway mark of the feature race. Nelson Jr. in the lead. Smith II trying to close in on him. The gap to 0.3 of a second. And around they go. Smith II, the number 70 car, in for the first time here for the Street Stock Series, has been putting on quite a show and got to show us what great battling looks like here today. But he's not done just yet, as Nelson Jr. is going to have the pressure on him, and maybe that's going to be what he needs to put his best laps forward. Right now, the best lap belongs to Smith II. Down the straight they go. And I think this battle is going to last us for a long, long way. Grabbing some water. Stay hydrated, everyone. Nelson Jr. still in the lead. He's extended the gap to about 0.6 now. As we're going to flip this on back to the eye overlay for a moment so we can see these lap times real close. It's a 1:42.995. That was the best lap for Aaron Smith II. You can hear some crunching behind us as a white and black is out for Blackstock for a track cut. But the gap now down to 0.4. Smith II has had the better lap times. The last lap was a 0.3 difference in favor of Aaron Smith II. But the 00 of Nelson Jr. is not giving up this position. Constantly swinging back and forth between 0.5 a second, 0.4 of a second. They keep on swinging around. But the main thing that Nelson Jr. is going to like is he is still in the lead, and the gap is not closing more than the 0.5 a second that we've seen for a majority of this battle. From 7 to 5 to 3 to 2, the battle for the lead rests between the 00 and the 70. hard around the corner. Both drivers have shown their expertise with these cars. Nelson Jr. has been the car to beat ever since race number 1, where he was battling it out against Brock Morris in an unfortunate event against Morris. Saw Nelson Jr. take that top spot, and he has not looked back since. We'll go a little bit further back in the pack, as we can't just have it all be on the leaders. We've got Kyle Pokrevki here trying to make a move on Colby Vaughn. Both their cars have seen a bit of a scuff up, and Pokrevki's getting alongside. He's looking for the move, but he's going to give it up to Colby Vaughn. He looks for that over-under as Vaughn's a little bit washing out. Pokrevki on that inside line holds it well, and he's got 5th place for now. Looking to hold on as Vaughn still closing that gap just a little bit. It's a tight battle as around they go towards the 3rd to last corner. A bit of a washout from both of them, but Pokrevki gets out of it better and will hold on to the place. Unfortunately, David Nannen and Sam Burdett have had some trouble with their time. That is not what we wanted. That was not what we were looking for. Apologies for that one. Let's get that back where you belong. As Pokrevki gives it back to Vaughn. I guess he didn't like the line that he had to go into. It's still showing DNF for Nannen. Burdett's got the meatball. Aaron, you got anything to report over there? Pokrevki might be understeering pretty bad. He can't make it through these corners without getting in Vaughn's way. Got nothing. Cool. Thank you. Bit of crunchiness in front of these two drivers who are closing in on Ivan Barra, who sits at P4 at the moment. So the two of them will try to put the pressure on and get up that 4th position. It's now a 1-second gap between Nelson Jr. and Aaron Smith II. Aaron's feeling the kind of pressure that all of these drivers have been trying. We got a video here. What is this? Oh, it's not going to load. Okay, my bad. I thought that this was actually going to function for once. Oops. Well, worth a try. That gap has now gone to 1.5 seconds. I think it's safe to say Nelson Jr.'s found his groove, and I don't think he's giving it up any time soon. We've got 4 minutes to go in the feature race here at Detroit as we begin the second half of the Sunset Bend Road Course Challenge in the Street Stocks presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Keith Nelson Jr., if he can hold on to this, will move into sole possession of 2nd place on the all-time wins list within the Prodigy Racing Association. And unfortunately for Aaron Smith II, the gap is not shortening. It is, in fact, widening. 1.8 on the board as we look at the fastest laps. It still belongs to Smith II, but look at the last lap times. 1:43.95 out of Aaron Smith, 1:43.19 from Nelson Jr. And this lap is looking like all of the same all over again. The gap has now increased to 2 seconds. And it continues to balloon. I'm not sure if maybe there's damage on Smith II's car, but what I can tell you is Nelson Jr. has been looking stellar here in this feature race. Obviously a strong driver in the first heat, as you can't exactly get the 2nd place spot by a 5-second margin without being a solid driver. But this time he is otherworldly as Pokrevki is catching up big time to Colby Vaughn. What's happening over here? I want to see this battle again. We've got 2.5 minutes left as Vaughn is washing out a little bit through these corners, and Pokrevki's actually been pretty clean, so Kyle Pokrevki's got a good chance to get by. It's a battle for P5 right now as they cross the line. 2 meatballs are up. Chris Blackstock will need to go to pit lane as he's crashed hard. Oh, goodbye, Pokrefki. Welcome back, Pokrefki. As we go on back to our race leader. He's got a bit of a ways to go, but he's got 2 laps left. The next time he sees the finish line, he'll be looking at the marshal and he'll be waving the white flag as we are about to approach what will be the final lap at Detroit. Your race so far, Keith Nelson Jr. leads it. Aaron Smith II in second place. David Blanco holds on to third. Ivan Barra is fourth. Pokrefki is about to take 5th place away, and he's got it. As we want to bring this on back. I want to watch this highlight. I want to see how Pokrefki gets by him. Let's kick it on back. That's going to help it as Vaughn had some trouble around the corner, hit the wall after watching out a little bit, and he has that open lane to just sneak it down on the inside. And then after that, it was all about holding on to it. He's still going as Colby Vaughn is starting to fall behind, and Kyle Pokrefki gets all the room to himself. Pokrefki up to P5. What's happened to Aaron Smith II? He's gone to pit lane. What happened? Aaron's gone to the pits. What? We're going to need to back this up. Did his car run out of fuel? Smith said he burned up the fronts in the first race. Oh, the front tires may be cooked. And that's going to bring out the white flag, and Nelson Jr. is going to be all alone here in the front. Oh, no, wait, he's crashed into the wall, and David Blanco is trying to catch up. He's getting close to him. That gap is slimming massively, and now Nelson Jr.'s in trouble. It's the tires. Nelson Jr.'s in the wall. He's gone to the pits. David Blanco's in the lead. He's down the stretch. No one's close to him. The tires have given out. And you can see here already going through a brutal slide was Nelson Jr. The front right was not making contact with the ground. The tires have given out. Nelson Jr. can't hold on to it. And your winner is soon to be David Blanco. He's got 3 more corners to confirm it. Well, this race has completely flipped on its head. It looked to be an easy bout between Nelson Jr. and Smith II, but instead, David Blanco is the one to head to the line, clear, and in the lead. David Blanco, your winner for the feature race here in Detroit. David Blanco doing just enough to keep those tires cooled down enough, not wear them out too much. And Nelson Jr. and Aaron Smith II pay the ultimate price. And they fall to 6th and 7th, respectively. Well then, I can't exactly say that was the result that I expected. Your final grid is as follows. David Blanco is your winner with Ivan Barra in P2. Colby Vaughn takes 3rd, Kyle Pokrefki 4th, and because Nelson Jr. and Aaron Smith II are in the pits, Nathan Scott Maru will move up to P5. Nelson Jr. and Smith II are in 6th and 7th. Blackstock, Nannen, and Burdett round out the rest of the field, and Justin Rector will be claiming the 11th place points for both the heat and the feature race, with the last place points that he signed up for. As we'll watch Blanco go around the track one last time, he'll make his way to the finish line and give us a show. nowhere near what he was expecting this to be, I can guarantee you that. As suddenly both the race leaders washed away. We see Nelson Jr. is in the voice chat of the race. We can't hear what he's saying, though, as I'm not taking that risk. And here he is at the finish line. Just a little bit further, David. There you are. To the line he goes. Give us a spin. And around he goes. David Blanco, your winner at Detroit. And we've got clean donuts with it, too. 3 of them, in fact. The 4th is going to hit the wall. And a big congratulations to David Blanco. Does he want to go again? Oh, he's revving it up. He wants to go again. Come on, one more. Nah, doesn't have it. I don't think he's got it. I think he's just trying to get this engine to blow up. But that's going to be all for us today here at Detroit for the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge. Oh, he's trying to get it to whip around. It's not going. There it is. One more time. Puffing up all the smoke, destroying the rubber on those rear tires. And there goes the engine, and that'll do it for today. As a reminder for your schedule, we are headed to Navarra for our next race. That'll be next week on November 13th. We'll head to the Interlagos, and then the Thanksgiving break will bring us to our final race on December 4th as we head to Long Beach. Thank you all very much for joining us. This has been the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. I've been Thomas Cuthbert, also known as Orion, and I will see you next week.